Let's talk influencers. Influencer marketing is still a big thing and everybody does it. But the thing is, when you're at the point of starting your own influencer collaboration, all of a sudden you get a little lost and everything becomes much more mysterious. Who gets paid how much? What happens if you're just gifting them the thing and they're not being paid for it? What's with the copyright issues? What about ghosting? And so on. So today we're going to have a look at what are influencer contracts, and we're going to go through one step by step. You can download the influencer contract template from the description box below and follow me as we progress with this video. Timestamps as usual are below. Template that we used to send out to influencers while I was still working as marketing manager for one of the companies a few years back. This is a much simplified version of it, but essentially it has all the information that you need to establish a successful collaboration between you as a brand and an influencer. Essentially, an influencer contract is a legally binding agreement between a brand or a company, which is you, and an influencer, outlining the terms and conditions under which the influencer will promote your brand's products or services. What you need to know is, and it's super important, that you should use influencer contracts for all sorts of collaborations, even the free ones. I've been noticing and getting a lot of questions of, yes, but what if I'm just gifting them the product? Should we still create a contract? Absolutely. I've actually double checked this online. They all say the same thing. If it's a gifted collaboration, it's still a collaboration. What happens is that they agree to the collaboration. They are already aware of the fact they're getting a product for free, they're not getting paid, yet they still agree that they will produce content in return for a free product. So this is a sort of obligation. But then obviously in the contract you're going to specify that this is a gifted collaboration, so in terms of compensation they're receiving a free product, and make sure to specify exactly what are they receiving. That way they know that they're obliged to produce content in return for that free product. If they didn't agree to do this in the first place, you wouldn't send them the free product, would you? On the other hand, if you're just gifting out your products as a form of promotion, like a PR, or as a result of a giveaway, obviously those people are under no obligation to create content for you. If they do it, that's their own free will and because they want to do so. Essentially, having an influencer contract is great for a few reasons, because it helps to clarify the requirements so both parties know exactly what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it. You agree on payment terms beforehand. That way they know if this is a free collaboration, they're only getting your product. If it's a paid collaboration, how much are you going to pay them? So the contract is also great because it gives you both legal protection when it comes to intellectual property rights. You know that you won't have any copyright issues or even a lawsuit. Stay until the end of this video because I have pro tip for you when it comes to influencer collaboration. But now let's get started with the template. In the entire document, you will see all the areas marked in yellow are basically here for your use. So these are all the areas that you should replace with your own information. So let's go, like I promised, step by step. Your company with address, registration number, and your VAT number. This naturally will depend. You can be much less formal here if you wish. If I was doing it for myself, I would just go with company info, company address, and the VAT number, but do it the way it's done in your country of residence. So your company and address, this is the client, and then the influencer, same if they have a company, their address and their VAT. So this is a business cooperation agreement between a client and contractor to create original social media content. If you're doing a different type of content, feel free to change this if you wish. Go on with the contractor's obligations. These are the obligations of the influencer. Like I said, the yellows are here for you to change. These are the important information that you have to settle between you and them. So first of all, the performance, they will deliver content professionally and on time. Collaboration, they have to keep you informed of any issues. And the target product of the agreement, name your product here. If it's just one product, if it's more products, feel free to specify it. For example, you're just doing like autumn body butter, or maybe a whole set of home spa products, and then name what these spa products or this set exactly what it includes and what it is. So all content must meet legal and platform-specific requirements. You will naturally talk about these requirements later on in the contract, and the influencer will only post what you already previously agreed upon and the content you approved. So this is the specific content that we're talking about here. What we usually did is we had a monthly collaboration with influencers. So we would post something different on each specific week of the month. There was one post per week, so we did mostly stories and posts. So basically we did mostly stories, as you can see here. Story was introduction unboxing. Week 2 was a post, personal experience and testimonial. Week 3 was another story, educational content and tips. And then week 4 was a story like before and after, or the customer testimonials. So within each week, you see this was quite detailed. This was specified into a lot of details. So introduction and unboxing, about the product, about the brand, what's up with the brand, personal experience and testimonials. So like a kind of an unbiased review to introduce the product, explain how to take it or how to apply it, how long to apply it and how long to see the results, what are the results, and point out the ingredients. And then the week 3, for the story, it would be educational content, so main features and benefits, and mention all the effective ingredients. The last post was about the before and after with customer testimonials, and also we added links to our web shop, and we asked them to add the links to our web shop, and also sometimes we would give them discount codes. We agreed on the posting frequency, so it was once a week between specified hour, 1 hour before the peak audience presence, but we said exactly at what times we want them to post their content, so you can do that too. I left it here between 10 and 8 in the afternoon, but obviously you can change this to whenever their audience, to specific times when their audience is most active. In the second part, so we'll talk about delivery. So the contractor, in our case influencer, agrees to deliver the following content, which we already specified in the page above. So specific deliverables, what is it? Instagram post, Instagram story, Instagram reel, YouTube video, TikTok video, and so on. And obviously each of the deliverables must meet the content guidelines. You have to provide these guidelines. They will be provided by the client, which is you, and submitted by the agreed deadlines. Here you can specify the number of revisions for each piece of content. That's already included in the initial fee, so free of any extra fees, but you can also add, and I would actually recommend you to add the specific amount per revision after the initial fee, so anything that's extra, and also insert the time frame, so in how much time do you expect to receive all these revisions. The contractor, so the influencer, will complete these revisions within as specified above, 3 days, 5 business days, and so on, after they received your feedback. And then approval timeline, the client must review and provide feedback on each deliverable within, insert the time frame here. That means that you have to specify in maximum time you will take to provide the provisions after you receive the content. If you fail to provide this, the feedback, the content will be automatically considered approved. And then we have obligations of client, which essentially is you. So first of all, provide all the necessary information for the influencers, including the physical product. Obviously, you have to ship it on time. And then payment, you will also agree on the payment, on the amount, how much, and the payment beforehand. Agree on the amount with or without the VAT. That will naturally depend on on your country of residence. In our case, it was always without. So VAT was then added on extra on the invoice. And then also mention that for the services described on the date, insert time frame, within how many business days do you expect to receive content. And then all services or deliverables requested by the client, which is you, and that are not explicitly outlined in this agreement will be considered additional work and will incur extra fees. This makes sense. I'm pretty sure influencers would want something like this as well. So just make sure to double check that you have added all the necessary information. And then the contractor, so influencer, will provide a quote for additional work, and you will obviously agree on the quote and then insert hourly rate or a flat fee, which we already discussed above. Well, you'll insert the amount. Duration and termination of the contract. We always did the 1 month agreements. If you want to change this, feel free to do so and do it the way that's best for your business. So the confidentiality agreement is basically that all terms of this agreement and any related information regarding to your products and everything connected to your brand and products that you don't want to get out into the public. All this information is confidential, and this obligation extends beyond the termination of this agreement. So even after you're done with all this, with the collaboration, they still have this confidentiality obligation that they do not share your information of sensitive nature, let's say, with anybody else. Copyright and intellectual property, so the transfer of rights. The influencer or contractor transfers all copyright to the client. This is probably the section that you need to talk this over definitely, because you do not want to get any copyright issues or even lawsuits later on. If they're just publishing it on their own social media channels and you have nothing to do with it, that's fine. But if you do, then if you want to use it on your own social media channels and so on, make sure to define this as well. Also in the intellectual property and so on. Also, this is more likely for UGC creators than influencers, but when it comes to social media ads, many people or many brands want to use the content on their social media channels for paid in paid advertising. This is usually not the standard practice. Creators will charge extra if you want to use their content for your paid ad campaigns. So when we go to the legal framework, this is just legal in case anything goes wrong. So the agreement is governed by, insert your target country here. If anything goes wrong for any disputes, you will settle this in, insert your city here. A few other points that you need to consider. If any part of this agreement is found invalid, the rest remains enforceable. We always made 2 copies. One was signed by my boss, the other one was signed by the creator, well, the influencer, so client and the contractor, and we both kind of kept one copy. Scope creep prevention. So essentially what this is here is that if there are any that basically any requests by the client, which is you, that change the scope of work of this agreement, which means that if the influencer has to give you something else that's not explained in the contract, they will charge extra for these services. So make sure to specify exactly what you need. And in here, you'll see you can basically, such services will include extra fees as outlined in the clause. We had it up there somewhere, just mention here where, and it's all agreed before writing, before work commences. So before you start collaborating together, everything has to be agreed upon. This is it. So then you have just the location, date, and signature. Yours, theirs, the same, your location, their location, and so on. And then what I've actually done below here is I've given you additional clauses that may be relevant for your business. So if we just go through quickly, force majeure here, this is probably not relevant, but just in case, maybe it is for you, depending on where you live and the type of business you have. Then you have exclusivity. I'm pretty sure this could be interesting for you. It means that during this collaboration, so like I said, you specify how long you want the collaboration to go on. During all the time that you and this influencer are working together, they agree not to engage or promote the products or services from your competitors. So this can be quite handy if this can be super useful actually. So they're not basically promoting 2 products at the same time you don't want them to promote your competitors while you're paying them. So this would be a very useful clause. The performance metrics. So first of all, you want obviously to have a look at their performance overall. How is their engagement rate? How are their followers engaging with them in the first place? Are they active followers and so on? After you've already agreed on the collaboration, they agree that they will try to maintain minimum engagement rate on all posts that's related to your products or services. Also, we have content revisions, which we already talked about. make sure that you clear it out specifically before you start the collaboration, how many revisions you expect, and so on. This is especially relevant for influencers that work with you short term, because I think that the long-term collaborations would help you minimize these revisions. Then you have code of conduct. If they're not professional and so on, then obviously you don't want to pay them. Then you have the approval timeline. Just make sure to really nail down all the specifics. Additional services, reporting requirements. So this is definitely relevant. Ask them to give you all the analytics, metrics, and so on how the content is performing on their channels. Non-disclosure agreement. Basically, you don't want them to make any negative comments about your brand or your company while you're working together, and a set amount of time after your collaboration. Moral clause, so we already said that if they're not engaging or conducting properly, this is definitely something you want to cancel out. The pro tip, I promise, keep everything in writing. The reason why this contract is so important is because you agree on everything beforehand. That way, you can avoid any misunderstandings or any issues that you or they may have. Specify into as much detail as possible the scope of your collaboration, everything that includes, so exact content, exact payment, exact dates, your exact requirements. Do not start the collaboration until you have the contract ready and signed. Once the contract is in place and you've agreed on absolutely everything, this is when your collaboration can start officially in terms of content creating. Keep everything in writing. Emails can apparently also be legally binding if necessary.